Hi guys, this is Ma'am Liz, your resource person when it comes to education matters. And for today's video, I'll be sharing about the scoring rubrics. So come on, let's check what it is all about.
Three, two, one.
A scoring rubric, or rubric in simple term, is an assessment tool that displays criteria for different levels of quality against which student work can be evaluated. Rubrics are flexible and can be adapted to fit almost any type of learning product like essays, presentations, laboratory works, portfolios, etc. Rubrics work best when judgments of quality are determined by multiple factors. Rubrics can be used to reduce subjective bias from assessments. By clearly stating the criteria for judgment, rubrics increase the objectivity of assessment. Rubrics also increase consistency of multiple assessors. This is particularly important for assessments made by the committee or a group of assessors who will use one set of criteria for reference. Moreover, rubrics communicate to students how they will achieve a certain task or output. They may also conduct self-assessment and progress monitoring during the performance of a task. Kaya guys, once we require our students to do an authentic task, requirement natin sa ating sarili na meron tayong nakahandang rubrics. Now let's talk about rubric elements. All rubrics are composed of the same three elements. The levels or scale are used to differentiate between low, medium, and high quality evaluations. Each level is accompanied by a criterion or set of criteria that specifies what is needed to reach that level of quality. Finally, a descriptor label that defines each level. There are basically two types of rubrics that are often used in scoring performance. Analytic rubrics break down the performance into different levels of behavior and assign point values to each. Points are then totaled to derive a quantitative measure of performance. And here is a sample of analytic rubric in a speaking task. There are three levels, 1, 2, and 3. These are the criteria: factual information, vocabulary, correctness of language, and fluency. And there are descriptors in every criteria at different levels. So, if a learner gets a score of 3 in factual information, 2 in vocabulary, 3 in correctness of language, and 2 in fluency, then the total score garnered is 10 out of 12 highest possible score. A holistic rubric evaluates the overall performance qualitatively. One common example is given by the categories excellent, good, fair, and poor. And this one is a sample of holistic rubric in a speaking task. You will notice that there are three categories: exceeds expectations, meets expectations, and fails to meet expectations. Obviously, they also speak of levels. Highest is exceeding expectation, and least is failing to meet expectations. In each category are the list of descriptors that holistically describes an output or task. Now, let's talk about the steps in creating a scoring rubric. Step 1. Decide on the 3 to 6 most important criteria for a particular learning outcome. For example, in preparing a scoring rubric for a performance in a PLE subject, we may consider the following criteria: use of tools, equipment and materials, application of procedure, safety work habits, and speed or time. Step 2, once you have selected the most important set of criteria, consider the specific elements you would want to include in your description of each level of performance, like this one. Step 3, decide how many levels of performance you want to include. Ideally, there should be either 3 or 5 levels of performance. Using fewer than 3 levels means neglecting the important details to consider in assessment of a particular performance or output. Yet, using more levels makes it difficult to write meaningful descriptors. Step 4, decide on the weight you want to give to each criterion and each level of performance. So for example, a poor performance may be given a mark of 1, while an exemplary performance may be given a mark of 4. Step 5, create a table that includes the list of criteria in the left-hand column, then add another 3 or 4 columns depending on how many levels of performance you have chosen. I would like to show some sample rubrics that you may use in your class. And before I end this video, let me give a few tips on how to efficiently use rubrics in assessment activities. For your records, include on the rubrics the task, learner outcome or objective, and complex thinking skills required. Second, consider assigning different weights to each criterion if they differ in importance. Third, share the criteria with your students and your reasoning in selecting the criteria, meaning consider student involvement in criteria selection. And fourth, share results with students, emphasizing what they have mastered or learned. Okay, so that's it. Till next video. Bye!